Hey, how are you? Yeah, we were in a wedding last week. Oh, no, you're not.
that's one thing when you go to a jewelry store for anything, they'll clean your rings. So I got my ring cleaned yesterday.
They'll clean your ring anytime.
I didn't realize how dingy it was until I saw it next to the wedding band. I was like, this really needs to be cleaned.
Yeah, any place you go in, they'll clean it, and they'll check they'll check the setting and make sure
Yeah.
it's still, you know.
No, that's a secure setting. My FIHO, not a good choice for some nights.
Ja. Je neemt maar het ook mee.
Well, that's the other thing about Jews. Everybody wants to sit in the same seat.
I think that's
The
most
joke
people.
is that, you go to a Baptist church and there's 16 people there with white gloves saying, how can we help you, where do you want to sit? You go to a synagogue, you sit down, and the person conducting says, you're in the seat.
Good. Well, Shabbat Shalom. Wonderful for everybody who's braved the weather and is here in person, and also welcome all those who are joining us via our live stream. It's a little messy outside. It's a little messy outside, and I hear not getting better. So we will. I will trim the sermon down to a good 45 minutes instead of the hour-long.
You kind of do songs.
No, the songs they like, they, you know. So really, though, it is at these moments where it's yucky outside and the weather is what it is, and we live in Erie, and although we always seem to be surprised that it's snowing. You know, and it's at those moments, though, that we can just let that go. You know, let that seed into the background and allow ourselves to enter into this very special world, this world of Shabbat, this world of connecting with Jewish community all around the world. And so to begin that, we'll ask Pam to come forward and light our Shabbat candles. The blessing can be found on page 2.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. What am I doing wrong? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu v'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'havik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
Can I have a little poppers?
No. Different those are tapers, and so they don't have. Right. So as Jesse and I were talking about how to begin the service, we said, well, why don't we start with Hine Matov, how beautiful it is today.
That's Maya Fahayom.
Or, no, Maya Fehayom, I'm sorry. Maya Fehayom, how beautiful is this day? And we thought maybe that wouldn't be the best choice. So we're going to start with Hine Matov, how great it is to be together, even though it's a little bit yucky outside.
Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad, hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. And as we continue on page 20 with Lecha Dodi, as we welcome our Shabbat bride into our hearts and into our lives, we're going to do verses 1, 2, and 9. Yes? Yep.
Likrat kala, yalala, yalala, yalala,
Pnei Shabbat,
Nekavela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, yalala, 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 Pnei Shabbat, Nekavela. Shabbat nekabela
Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mekor haveracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshavat chila lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela roi v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha u'bitzola tov emunei am segula boi chala lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela.
Please be seated as we continue, page 22. Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, a psalm, a song for Shabbat.
Mizmor shir liyom hashabbat, tov lehodot la'Adonai. U'zamer l'shimcha elyon, u'zamer l'shimcha elyon. Mizmor shir liyom hashabbat,
Tov lehodot la'Adonai, u'zamer l'shimcha elyon.
u'zamer l'shimcha elyon. Lehagid
Aboker hasdecha,
Be'emunatecha ba'leilot, Alei yasor v'alei navel, Alei On page 24, we welcome each other and we welcome the angels that accompany us as we join in Shalom Aleichem, those words of welcome, those blessings, those hopes for peace.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Bochem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Ni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We turn together to page 26 and we rise for Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadav, Yitkadav Shmei Rabbah.
Amen.
Elmad Yivarach Chirutei V'yamlich Malchutei.
B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala,
Uvizman Kariv. Bimeru. Amen.
Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'olam olam me'ol ma'ya,
Yitzbarach, Yitzbarach, V'yishabach, Yitzbar, V'yitram, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitaleh, Shemei Kudesha,
Barichu,
Le'la min kol berchata v'shirata,
Tushbechata v'nechemata, Dahamiran be'olma.
Himeru.
Amen. Page 28, we join in Baruch.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Please be seated as we continue on page 30 with Ma'ariv Aravim, that prayer that thanks God for the miracles, the wonders of creation. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher Bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim, Bahochma Poteach Sha'arim, Uvitvuna Meshane Itim Umachalif Et Hazmanim, Umesader Et HaKochavim, B'mishmerotehem Barakia Kirtzono. Borei Yom V'Layla, Golel Or Mipnei Choshech, V'Choshech Mipnei Or, Uma'avir Yom Umevi Layla, Umavdil Ben Yom Uvein Layla, Adonai Tzevaot Shemo. El Chai V'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Leolam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai, HaMa'ariv Aravim. Page 33. Let's join together in the middle of the page. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us, and the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch Atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. As we rise together for Shema, page 34.
Shema Yisrael,
Please be seated as we continue, page 36, with Va'ahavta. If the Shema is the statement that says, this is who we understand God to be as singular, unified, and one, Va'ahavta teaches us of how we think about God when we lie down, when we rise up, when we walk around, when we put God's words on our doorposts, when we have them on our arms and our foreheads during prayer. At all moments in our lives, we're guided by this idea of God being part of our lives and there to guide and help us in the decisions that we make along the way.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם
Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 39. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
And on page 40, we find our song of freedom, Mi Chamocha.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele, nora tehilot osefele.
Malchut achara'u vanecha boker yam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze Eli anu va'amru Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. V'ne'emar kifada Adonai et Yaakov, u'gelo miyad chazak mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai, Gaal Yisrael, praised are you, Adonai, the Redeemer of Israel. Page 43. Let's join together at the top of the page. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom, Lishalom. V'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim. Ufros aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, Ufros aleinu Sukat Shlomecha. Amen.
We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment that endures forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. And we thank God for the opportunity, the blessing of being able to engage and celebrate Shabbat. And so we join in Vishamru, page 44.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beni uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam, oti leolam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-Shemayim ve'et ha'aretz. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam
Berit olam.
Uvayom hashvi
Shavat vayinafash, Shavat vayinafash, Shavat vayinafash. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat
la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam.
Page 47. Pray as if everything depended on God. Act as if everything depends on you. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. As we rise for Amidah, page 46, Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agiti hilatecha. Adonai, open our lips, that our mouths may declare your praise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Lifnei V'neihem, L'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכות הרע והושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחלקל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בגבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך נמית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמנתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, קדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Please be seated as we continue, page 53. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see, wherever we gaze, that the bush burns unconsumed. And we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Let's join together, top of page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 57. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers, and there may we find you. And there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. And let's join together, top of page 59. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai. Hatov shimcha u'lecha na'eh lehodot. Page 61. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace. And give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael, bashalom.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Tasdim Leolam Ki
אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום, לטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, לכל עת ובכל השעה משלומך. ברוך אתה אדוני עושה השלום.
We take a few moments for the prayers in our hearts and minds, some moments of silent prayer.
רצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי וגואלי וגואלי.
We turn together to page 253. There we find the blessing for healing. There are so many people in our world who need a blessing. We need that blessing, that energy of healing. Certainly all those in Israel, as we continue this tragic war, all those in conflict places all around the world, those who are grappling with illness of different varieties. Healing comes in different ways, healing of body and mind and heart and soul. And as we join our voices in that prayer for healing, that idea that we ask God for that blessing of health and wholeness in our lives. We think especially of Carol Ford and James Chavez, Elizabeth Fogel, Gerald Hoffman, Wendy Sherman, Stephanie Willis, Arlene Sandelstein, Irv Willis, Michael Shervetsky, Rabbi Brad Liefeld, and Esther Northman. If you are joining us via live stream and you have a name that you would like to add, please add it into our chat. If you are here in person and would like to add a name as I look around, please do so. We join in our prayer for healing.
Mishemerach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu.
with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. There's a term that has become more popular in recent years known as gaslighting. Right? What is that? That's a real question.
Warp someone's perception of reality through lies.
Okay, great, perfect. Perfect. That was great. It is when you warp or change somebody's perception of reality to suit your goals, right? Often, it's essentially blaming a victim, right? Putting the blame on the victim. It's a sense of manipulation, right? Usually it takes over an extended period of time, and it really causes a victim of some sort of an attack to feel as if they themselves are the perpetrator. Guess what, folks? We are experiencing this with Israel today. Today, at the International Court in The Hague, was a mind-blowing, boggling example of Israel being gaslighted. The absolute absurdity of the only democratic, free country in the entire Middle East being brought up on charges of genocide against a group of people, Hamas specifically, who are dedicated to the genocide of the Jewish people. The absurdity of that scenario is absolutely mind-boggling. And yet, the world took it seriously. And Israel came and presented their case. Few facts about Gaza, just to reframe a little bit. Please remember that we left Gaza in 2005, that 2 years after we left, they democratically elected Hamas as their leadership, and they have done nothing but a constant stream of terror attacks ever since. We have had successive incursions and wars in the interim. There have been almost constant rocket fire bombings from Gaza into Israel. That the vast majority of the billions of dollars of financial aid from the world community that was directed to help the people of Gaza was taken by Hamas and either is there to have them live comfortably in villas in Qatar or other places, or, more importantly, to build infrastructure of terror. And not only the infrastructure of terror, but that infrastructure of terror that gets built in hospitals and schools and apartment buildings and in places where the people, the population, become essentially the human shield. Imagine the scenario if it had happened in 2005, had the population in Gaza said, wow, we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity to create an amazing, thriving experience here. We can take a whole industry that Israel created that was based on cut flowers, actually. Pretty flowers, you know. And then Israel was one of the major exporters of cut flowers to Europe. And they all came out of greenhouses in Gaza. So instead of focusing on the opportunities, we focused on creating terror. We focused on supporting a terror organization that has in its charter the destruction of the Jewish people, essentially. And you have to wonder, do you think Hamas expected a different result when they perpetrated the horrible acts of October 7th? No. They're not naive. Neither should we. Right? We shouldn't be naive either. We know for certain that they expected and wanted this kind of experience so that they can advance their cause in some way. Imagine if the world had reacted to October 7th differently. Imagine if ceasefires were being called for, but it was Hamas that was being called on to lay down their arms, to free the hostages, to stop sending rockets into civilian areas of Israel. And yet it is Israel on the world stage who is being called on to ceasefire. There's a great quote from Golda Meir that says, if they lay down their arms, we'll have peace. If we lay down our arms, we'll be dead. I paraphrase. And that is so profoundly true, because even recently, there were quotes from Hamas leadership that said, October 7th was just practice, we're going to do it again, and even worse. And when Israel is blamed for the civilian deaths, and there is this very odd and strange kind of accounting that says, well, these are too many people, as if people can, that it would be okay if it was only X number of people who were killed. Rather than saying, look, Hamas, you're killing these people by putting them between you and the people you attacked. How can you, And yet it is Israel that's called on to stop and not Hamas that's called on to stop. Now you can say that this is a reaction to October 7th, but it's not. Israel historically, over the last many, many decades, has been called to task and been censured by the UN and the Human Rights Commission of the UN, which, by the way, do you know who's chairing the Human Rights Commission at the UN these days? Iran. I mean, if you want to talk about a kangaroo court and something that is absolutely absurd, I mean, it's not even, I can't even begin to say how ridiculous that is, right? And yet, Israel, over the course of many, many decades, has been censured and brought up by the Human Rights Commission and the Security Council and more than any other country. Israel was once brought up at the Human Rights Commission for their persecution of women by Saudi Arabia. Actually, Israel had a great campaign against that one. That was fabulous. Their campaign was, we have more women who are flying fighter pilots than Saudi Arabia has women driving cars. But here we are. I spoke earlier this week at Abiding Hope Lutheran Church, and we will be welcoming Pastor Karen and the church with us at the end of on the 26th, at the end of January. And one of the people in the group asked, Well, why is it that Israel is so singled out? Why is it that it's that tiny little insignificant country in the middle of nowhere is so singled out for so much critique when people are getting killed and by the hundreds of thousands in other places, and nobody seems to care? And I said, well, the answer is painful. Because the answer in many ways is that this goes back to an ancient Jewish hatred. Like this goes back, almost thousands of years of persecution of Jews throughout history. So, there is we are in the Parsha of which Moses, it's Va'era, and Moses is coming to Pharaoh to try to convince Pharaoh to let the people go. The question, though, is these, and of course they have the plagues that happen, you know the story, right? And what are the plagues for? Well, the plagues, if you just read the text, the plagues are for the Egyptians. So the Egyptians will let the Israelites go. But after all, this is God. And if God wanted the Israelites to go, God could have just said, okay, Israelites, go. We don't need permission from the Egyptians. I'm God, after all. So these plagues and these demonstrations are for us to know that God is with us, that God accompanies us. And although sometimes it feels lonely in the world, and it feels lonely to be critiqued everywhere you go, we also draw strength from that history and that communal response of Mi chamocha, how wonderful, how beautiful is God in the world. And so, although we are struggling with these issues of anti-Semitism and hatred and gaslighting and being blamed and having to answer ridiculous accusations, we also, on the other hand, always approach that with a sense of hope. National anthem of Israel, Hatikva, the hope, right? The hope for some kind of resolution, some kind of better future to come. So, Shabbat Shalom. Let's join together in the prayer for the state of Israel on page 259. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. Avinu Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Simchat Gulatenu. Together, O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Shed your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there, as together we say, Amen. And we'll continue with Aleinu on page 282. Please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, lateit gedula le'otzeh b'reshit, shelo asanu k'goyei ha'aratzot, ve'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, ve'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוצר הארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל
ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס סולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו. וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים נמעל, וארץ מתוך התנות. ונאמר והי אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Please be seated. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and of death. We are in the period of we mark the recent death of Nancy J. Bell, the sister of Dom and Sue Comey. We send condolences to you, Dom and Sue. I think you're with us via live stream, and so our thoughts are with you, even though you're not here with us in person. You're certainly part of us, here with us in spirit and on our live stream. And we also observe Yahrzeit this week for Emil Hirsch, Matilda Cooperman, Ben Moses, Isidore Pinsky, Adolf Winters, Moses Garson, Albert Rosenstein, Sarah Schuster, Rachel Galinsky, Mary Jasanowski, Ruth Urschler, Jeffrey Gage, Adolf Harf, Rachel Harris, Thad Lewandowski, James Levi, Abraham Rudolph, Goldie Harris Sachs, Henrietta Strauss, and Shirley Friedman. If others have a name that you would like to add, if you're joining us via live stream, please add the name into our chat. If you're here in person and would like to add a name, please do so. So we turn together to page 294 as we rise for words of Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ba'alma divrach erutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chai echon uv'yom echon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach la'alam u'larmeh almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudsha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, damiran bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Please be seated. I'd like to welcome Craig forward to share some announcements.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you, Rabbi and Jesse. Wonderful service, as usual. Thank you. Services tomorrow morning, as usual. 10 o'clock is the Torah service, or service, and then 11 o'clock is the Torah study, and those are in person and on Zoom. And then we have a few things coming up. First off, Tu B'Shavat Oneg. There will be a special Tu B'Shavat Oneg after the service on Friday, January 19th. There's no cost to attend this, but please register so that they have a head count so they know how much food and supplies to have on hand. And you can register through the link in your weekly email or contact the temple office. Now, there's also a Tu B'Shavat Seder. Gesher invites you to join them for a special Tu B'Shavat Seder on Sunday, January 21st, and that's Sunday at 11:30. There's no cost for this either, but once again, they're asking you to register so that they have a head count and know how to prepare. And once again, you can register through the link in your weekly emails or contact the office. And we have one more item, a TGIS dinner. Join us Friday, January 26th for a winter TGIS dinner. The cost is $20 per person. That one's not free, $20 per person. And once again, you can register online before January 22nd, and you can do that through your weekly email link and by calling the office. So as Rabbi has mentioned already, if you've seen this flyer out front, there's several of them out there if you'd like to pick one up. We have a couple of pulpit exchanges coming up. First off is Pastor Karen Parrish of Abiding Hope Lutheran Church right down the road. They are going to be here on Friday, January 26th at our 6:15 service. And then hopefully we will be joining them, Rabbi and we will be joining them at their Sunday service on January 28th at 9:30. And then on February 11th, Bishop Frank Quinn from Christian Ministries of the Apostolic Faith Church, those are the folks who occupy our former temple on 10th Street. They will be coming here on, as I said, let's see.
They're here on the 9th, we're there on the 11th.
Okay. All right, yes. And so their services are 11 o'clock. So,
You get to sleep in.
yeah, I like that. So if you want to go to the temple and see what changes they've made, or if by chance you've never been to the temple and you've heard us talking about it, once again, you can go to the service and get probably a quick tour of what used to be Anshe Hesed, but now is Apostolic Faith Church. Shabbat Shalom.
And if you don't have your email, or you want to reply or register for any of these, all you need to do is go to the website, go to the calendar, click on whatever the event is, and it takes you right to a registration link. You don't even have to worry about finding the email or anything. So that's always there. Very easy. We're going to conclude with Hevenu Shalom Alechem, which I don't think is in our books, but those are all the words you need. Those are the only words, so it's pretty easy. Hevenu Shalom Alechem, Alechem, Hevenu Shalom.
One more time.
Hevenu Shalom Alechem, Alechem, Hevenu Shalom. Gam yachad, hinei matov, u'banayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hevenu shalom alechem, alechem hevenu, alechem hevenu, alechem hevenu shalom. We join in Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר לציית מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל עמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן.
Chaim. We join in Motzi. Motzi lechem min haaretz.
We give thanks
To God for bread. Our voices rise in song together.
as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. Please drive safe, drive slow. You'll all get there home safely, we hope. And Shabbat Shalom.